Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Q&A podcast on Inside the Birds YouTube channel, platform, Amazon Music, Apple, whatever you want. We're here for you. After a sad 40-34 Cowboys win over the Eagles with the heavy heart here, Q. Say what's up to the people. I got my main man, Quintin Mikell, my co-host.
What's going on, everybody? Yep, it was a tough one, especially on the holiday weekend. It's not how we wanted to go into Christmas, but it is what it is. It's one of them things you got to learn from it and move on. I hate Dallas. I just hate losing to that
this
team,
is
man.
a frustrating loss, Q, because we had multiple opportunities to win the game, man.
Multiple. It's crazy. Just it's games like that really sting the most. Like the games where you know that the team didn't beat you, you beat yourself, right? And
Q,
you had opportunities to win.
Q, hold on. We're gonna start this over because my mic was unplugged for some reason.
Oh, I can hear you though.
You heard me the second time?
Yeah, I've been hearing you the whole time.
Oh, okay.
We can restart though.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jason Avant on the Q&A podcast, Inside the Birds YouTube channel. I'm here with my main man, Quintin Mikell. Say what's up to the people. Q.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be back. Wish we had better circumstances. Had a little fun over the holiday weekend. Frustrating, but can learn from it and move on, I guess.
Yeah, 40-34 Cowboys win over the Eagles when we had multiple opportunities to win the game. Very, very frustrating. Before we get into all the details of the game, all the tape breakdown and all of this stuff, we want to say thank you to all of our fans and everyone that's tuning in to this podcast. Thank you. Make sure that you submit your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Again, insidethebirds@gmail.com. Thank you to Jeff and to Adam and everyone that's responsible, Evan, Josh, everyone that's responsible for making this show a success, and especially to our fans. Thank you guys so very much. Check us out, Amazon, Apple, YouTube. Check us out anywhere. Follow us, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Q, 34-40 win Cowboys. Very frustrating on so many levels. What's your big picture takeaway, X's, before we get into X's and O's? We know we have 4 ugly turnovers. Talk about it.
Yeah, man. The turnovers were ugly. Defensive, I would say, schematically was not what we're used to seeing, especially in the back seven. Just mental errors everywhere. And so, couple that with the injuries and, Gardner is a backup, and we had some good plays from the receiving core, but also some that we probably want to get back. So it was just really a turbulent game. It was really up and down. The score, I wasn't expecting the score to be that as high as it was, but yeah, just overall, man, it just was a weird game for me. It's just really, really, really weird. I didn't think they came out the way they wanted to.
Big picture takeaway. Jonathan Gannon prides himself on bending and not breaking. They got behind us a bunch.
Yeah.
And they got behind us in some blown and bonehead ways. The last touchdown to CeeDee Lamb, that was a great schemed up play. That was F post the entire time. It was an out, like a angle inside post route that he just stopped and went back, to the corner. Like, you're going to get beat on those. Like, that was an excellent, game plan play. Yeah. But CeeDee Lamb's first touchdown, blown coverage. They're in cover 3. Darius Slay's not getting depth. The flat defender, he's trying to play an out route, and the flat defender is in between 2 guys, so he's going to be able to make that play to the flat, right? So there are so many different things on the back end that went wrong. Where in the hell was A.J. Brown for 3 quarters, man? Like that's I don't understand certain things, right? We got weapons. Dallas is a nightmare matchup. Devontae Smith is a nightmare matchup. I love Quez, you know I do, but the pecking order in our offense should be AJ Brown, Dallas, and Devontae, and those two are interchangeable, those last two. But AJ Brown should get the ball, and you shouldn't go 3 quarters without this man seeing a large amount of targets. You can't do it. Why are we throwing the ball to Quez? And I love Quez when AJ Brown is out there still covered. Not covered, still out there playing. You just don't do those types of things. Give that man his opportunities and his throws. That's all I'm saying. I saw him in the first quarter ball out, a few in the second quarter, but then for 2.5 quarters, nothing.
Yeah. I think so, and I kind of mentioned this last week about a lot of times with the backup quarterbacks, they tend to be more comfortable throwing to guys that are not the starters. So, I'm thinking, my suspicion is Gardner had eyes for Quez for a lot of those plays. And I agree with you 100%. You cannot have your stalwart receiver not touch the ball for that long of a time. But I also do think that maybe Gardner was a little bit worried about Diggs over there. He takes some chances.
Yeah, takes some
chances.
When
they did go after him, it was schemed double moves and things like that nature. So this is my suspicion. I think Gardner was probably just a little bit leery of throwing to his side. But come on, man, you got to.
4 turnovers, and when I say all of them are very avoidable.
Yeah.
The Quez turnover, the first turnover, Devontae Smith is front side read to that play. He's standing right there in front of you. You throw it backside to Quez when it's a guy on his back. Now, it was pass interference, but they're not going to always call that, right? Devontae Smith had a pass interference at the end of the game, or the one he threw at the back of the end zone. That was pass interference, but they're not going to call those at times in situations, especially on the road. They're not going to call those. But Devontae Smith is front side. You got the over and under with the basic and the sit down arrow route. Just throw it to the front side, right to him. He in between the linebacker, and he has way more space than Quez. Just throw him the ball. But you want to throw the ball to Quez, who has a guy directly on his back and who's reading you, So that's an avoidable turnover. The one with Boston Scott, you can tell that Minshew and Scott doesn't have that much chemistry together. Minshew puts the ball on the other side of him, and it's a little bit high. He's 5'4". You know what I mean? So it goes through the mesh point to the opposite side, and it's a little bit high, right? That's just quarterback, running back exchange that it just hurts you at the most inopportune times. Miles Sanders fumble, just bad timing.
That was just bad timing.
Just bad timing.
So I wanted to ask on the 2 Quez interceptions, those sit down basic routes. Is there anything that he could do? And maybe we can get into this a little bit later, but is there anything from you as an ex receiver, seeing that? Is there anything that he should have done a little bit better in those situations?
The thing that you can't do, especially on that backside, it's a sit down route. It's a sit down route. But whenever you're waiting, you got to always take a step back to the ball. You can't let the guy behind you be the aggressor. And you can feel body presence. And when you feel body presence, you take a step back to the ball. If you take a step back to the ball, now it's obvious and clear that it's pass interference. But if you kind of sit there and trying to shield him off, and now he can jump over you with one hand halfway. But if you take a step back to the ball, just natural rule of thumb, you hear me say this all the time, as when the ball is in the air, a receiver always takes at least one step back to the ball because you just don't know who's there. I learned the lesson my second year. It was a sit down route, just like that, over the ball. I wasn't supposed to get the ball at all. I got a sit down route. It was basically covered. It was covered. And there was a guy standing right there, and I was supposed to sit right there. Donovan threw the ball to me anyway. It was 4th down. He threw the ball to me anyway. And I tried to box the guy out. The guy knocked the ball down. And the coach was mad at me, dude, you always got to take a step back to the ball. I'm like, first of all, the ball shouldn't come to me. That's number one. All right. And number 2, I learned my lesson. Just always come back to the ball because you don't know what's behind you.
That's a good point.
So that's one. The second interception, the second one is the most impactful one because he got out competed to the ball. And I'm gonna show you how that can happen. And it wasn't an intentional thing, it was just an assignment and understanding situation thing. If you change the way you run a route, it makes the total difference. You cut off angles. Now a guy has to go through your body. And we'll get to that 1 second. Hold on.
Okay.
Injuries. Lane Johnson out at least 3 weeks. We only got 2 weeks left. Could be out the next 2 weeks, and then the bye week, right? At
Yeah.
least, right? Torn tendon in the abdomen. That when you hear that, the first thing you think of is core muscle injury or sports hernia, core muscle surgery, whatever you want to call it. Back in the day, we used to call it sports hernia. I've had that. Matter of fact, a lot of us have had that during our time we were there. And what that is that when you have an abdominal strain or tear, what happens is that your body automatically recruits the next muscle because it's usually low down in your pubic area. Your abdominal strain is usually low in your pubic area. And your body recruits the next muscle. And guess what that muscle is? It's your groin. Your groin is not strong enough to do what your core does each and every day. So what happens is you end up tearing your groin. And once you tear one of your groins, you have to release the other side in order to balance it back out. So you have to get two, basically, you have to repair your abdomen. You gotta repair a groin, and then you gotta release the other side. So you basically have three like points of incision in one surgery. So
Oof.
those are the types of things that can happen. So you got to be very careful with an abdominal strain because the abdominal strain can turn into a core muscle surgery or a sports hernia like that.
Wow. That's not good. That don't sound
Yeah.
good at all,
So
man.
and to play through it, you can. I played 10 games with it, and I chose to do it after it. Now it's tough. You can't move right. You're going to be 50% of the player that you normally are. So him being in that position, dragging the leg around, because you're going to be dragging the leg around if that's the case. If it goes that far and he decides to play, because it only gets worse. If he decides to play, Lane Johnson's a very good player. He may be 60, 65% of the player.
That
You know
don't
what I mean?
sound good.
That's if it goes to the point of
Right.
the core muscle. Now you can play it till the end of the year with it, but it's going to be tough to do.
I
I couldn't get
remember.
open the same. I had to come up with multiple ways to get open.
Didn't Kelsey have that a couple years ago? He had
There's a lot of people that had it. Yeah.
have played through it, and I remember thinking, man, he's one tough SOB to be able to play
Yeah.
through that. So that's not good. That doesn't sound good at all, man.
Yeah. So that's one. And then the other one is Avant Maddox. And talking about balling.
Yeah, he was having a great game.
He was balling. Damn.
It
That
was
boy
good to
was
see him
ready to
out there.
play that game.
Yeah, he was.
He was everywhere, balling in the backfield, making plays, sacks. Missed one of the sacks, but it was still a great play to get in there. He couldn't get Dak down. That's the big dude to get down. You know what I mean? But the next play came in and out on the flea flicker came. God, I was like, this dude is playing with his hair on fire, and it was tough sledding for CeeDee Lamb when he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
He go out of the game, CeeDee Lamb go crazy.
Yep, that was it. That
You
was
know?
all it took.
And then the 3rd and 30, that would have been Avante in position.
Yeah. That 3rd and 30, it's still just.
Yeah, we're gonna get.
We'll
to
talk
it.
about it, but oh my goodness,
We're gonna get to it. Anything from this loss that gives you concern about the future from the Eagles?
Yeah. Obviously, the injuries are my biggest concern. You know, I'm not really high on Scott right now. You know, and I'm not sure what's going on with CJ when he's gonna be back. So, you know, injury wise, that's tough. Obviously, losing Lane is gonna be huge. We saw how that affected the game once Lane was out. The offensive line looked completely different. So those are my two biggest concerns: is the injuries issues, and I think you know, Gannon, he's so frustrating because there's games where it looks like he has a great game plan, right? Like
Uh-huh.
he has everything figured out. And then games like these big games that you really need and you really want to win, it just seems like he just kind of goes into a shell. And I'm
Yeah.
just not a big fan of that style of defense. And I know there's some injuries. I know Maddox went out, but I just I hate the soft coverage. I hate, everybody dropping back, linebackers dropping back and
Yeah.
losing guys and routes behind them. I don't see the aggression out of this defense. I don't see the at times I don't see the aggression. I don't see the fire at times in these
No.
big games. And this is the time where you're supposed to be turning it up.
Listen, you were saying it right. Dak Prescott went 15 for 15 versus zone coverage.
That's
Like like all of their stuff was like there's a point where the Cowboys, in order to get stops, went man to man.
yeah, you have to.
We didn't. And it was pitch and catch the entire time. It was pitch and catch. Even to start the game, Dak was like 11 for 12 with the interception that he threw to Sweaty.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So it's a shame that we can't look at this. 20 Dak Prescott 27 for 35.
That's insane.
That's insane. Dak Prescott is not a 27 for 35 passing quarterback, man.
Nope.
You know
Not
what I mean?
throwing and then go ahead.
Yeah, he's not an 80% plus percentage guy.
That's crazy. And he's throwing. I mean, CD had a good game, but he's in the slot going against linebackers and a
Yeah,
backup nickel.
yeah,
Gallup's not someone that scares me. Noah Brown isn't someone that scares me. You got two of the best corners in the game. Dalton Schultz is not someone that scares me.
yeah.
Go man, like you said, throw some man in there. You have to.
Throw it in there. Make him earn it.
Yeah.
Make him earn it. And that's the thing. CD had a good game, but when you really break down his game, he got the long one on a busted coverage that Slay didn't get back in depth in cover 3. And Reed Blankenship was going to the middle of the field. He had a corner out, and Slay bit down on an out route instead of getting depth in cover 3. So that was the touchdown play. That was a big play. He had a broken play that was from the slot, right? That was about a 30-yard gain on a they drew him off sides. He just threw one down the middle and got, right?
Let me tell you, sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I hate those kind of plays when the defensive lineman jumps off sides and then they don't rush. And then so it's a free play for the offense. So I'm watching Sweat. I'm like, okay, you jumped off. Now please help us.
Go
Help
get him.
secondary out. Go get him. Don't let him throw it down the middle. It's a free play. So
it's a free play.
I was frustrated when I saw
like
that.
when you consider that, it was like he was dinking and dunking and got a few plays. The biggest play that he made was on the motion, like and when you really consider it, like everything that he's doing, he's catching everything from the slot, which is okay. You know what I mean? But that's not what a number one receiver is doing. And then on the touchdown, you come over in motion to get it off coverage and stuff like that. Like I said, like you got to do what you got to do because you're playing with what you got. But that's not number one receiver. Did he play a good game and did they have a good game plan for him? Yes. But the Eagles gave them that game plan. It wasn't that CeeDee Lamb was great. He had all zone coverage the entire day, and all you got to do is pick windows.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's it.
That's it.
All right. So Gardner Minshew, 355 yards passing. There is, two touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, let's see.
How do you think that he played? He had 2 interceptions. And it says who's to blame, Quez or him? On the first interception, it was Gardner Minshew. Quez can take a step back to the ball, but if you go back and look at the tape, the front side read, it's a basic inside basic and a sit down arrow concept in his zone. They covered the basic. Throw it to the front side arrow, which is right in front of you. And Gardner Minshew has the tendency to fade away on throws when you don't have to.
Yep.
I don't understand it. Like there's times when the ball is sailing highs because he's like trying to throw it like a fadeaway throw. Like it's not like a total fadeaway, but it's still his body momentum is going back rather than just stepping up and driving it when you have the opportunity to.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I don't know what was going on. There was quite a few, actually. I thought it was more than a couple of sail balls and, just straight out misses. And he just he didn't look comfortable in the pocket at all. He didn't look comfortable throwing at times. I don't know if he's pressing a little bit, but he definitely didn't look like how he did a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was a little bit more frantic. They were getting to him. They were getting to him, and especially like at the end of the half, their 4 and their 5 started to get to him.
Yeah.
So he started to move a little bit more than he should have. Even though he played a good game, I thought overall it was a good enough game to win.
Absolutely.
Now let's break down the Quez interception. I'm gonna show you guys something. Okay, so this is a second and 2. AJ Brown has a slant route, but look at the leverage of Trayvon Diggs. He's like 1.5 yards, maybe even 2 yards inside AJ Brown, right? So if AJ Brown runs straight up the field and runs a slant, he may have an angle to intercept the ball.
Yep.
This makes sense, Q?
Yep, absolutely.
So what AJ Brown does subtly is attack his leverage. So instead of going straight, he angles it this way, and now he doesn't have the 1.5 yard leverage anymore.
Yep.
So watch as the play goes. Watch AJ Brown's route. See how he's angling it? He's angling it in. So now when it's a tight play, the defender is on his back now because he angled it and took away the DB's leverage. That's called attacking the DB's leverage.
Yep.
You got me?
Yep.
It's a subtle trick to do it. And the veteran receivers and the people that understand this game and understand angles, you put the DB on your back, and now he has no way to get around you before the ball gets there.
Yep. Especially
okay. So you see that play.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to fast forward this. So now, what does this look like?
It's like the same play.
The same play, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look at this guy. He's looking in at the quarterback. You know his zone. He's 3-step reading the quarterback. So if you angle in, he's not going to notice. You're just going to come into his vision. Watch Quez. Watch where Quez goes. He goes straight. And now he has an angle to the football. If he goes off at the angle of the defender and cuts in front of him, there's no angle for the defender to go by. Also, Quez's break step. I'm gonna show you another thing, and this is details. This is just details in route running. Quez's break step. Quez is broke off the left foot right now. Look where his right foot is. He's already broke, hit the left foot already. His next step is forward. That's a losing route. Once you hit your left foot in the ground, his right foot should be 45 degrees facing the Cowboys sideline. It shouldn't be forward again. Therefore, that's an extra step in place, and now he has a better angle. So it's a bad route too. He's running around himself. So you don't do the proper leverage to protect the football, and then you run a bad route.
That's it. I see. I noticed too, he didn't really have any suddenness coming out of his stance. It just looked like he just kind of rolled into it. That really doesn't put any pressure on the DB at all.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you.
So those are like that play was avoidable. That last one was avoidable. You saw AJ Brown ran it in comparison to him and how flat AJ Brown was, right? So there's multiple things. He didn't angle it, and then he ran a bad route where he ran around his feet.
Come on, Quez.
But, you know.
That's your boy,
all I say is that why like KYP, like why am I got the number one slant running receiver in the National Football League. Statistically, makes a lot of yards on slants. Why is he in? Why he just ran the play earlier today? Why isn't he in on that play?
I
Why
think he
why
was
is
in
it
the
why
slot.
isn't he in that situation? Just in the field.
I think he was in the slot on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
Diggs
saying,
on, but I know
like,
I'm with you.
yeah. Like, I don't understand. Like, use Quez for what he does. He goes down the field. I'm not depending on Quez to make contested catches. That's what I'm bringing this dude in here for.
Mm.
And that's KWAP. That's know your personnel. Put him in position. It's not happenstance. This game is not happenstance. It's not happenstance where, oh, this guy was in this position, just make a play. Every now and again, the quarterback gets flustered and thrown out of the pocket, and somebody has to go and make a play. That's when anybody can make a play. But when you're designing game plan, you put your players in position to win. And I don't care about feelings. I don't care about any of that. AJ Brown runs slant routes. That's how it was. That's how it's supposed to be. That's where I am with it.
I got you.
AJ Brown, Devontae Smith having 100-yard game. Smith had many highlight reel catches. Like, anything that stood out to you with those two dudes?
I mean, Devontae, he went off. I mean, that toe tap on the sideline was a beautiful catch, man. I was thoroughly. I mean, he's always showed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a very good game.
Play after play, the end cut at the end of the game on the third one where he had to, like, in the last drive where he had to climb the ladder when there's balls behind him.
Yeah.
Like, he had multiple like big time plays and big time catches. Like I said, when you go back and look at that tape on that last possession in the red zone, that first down that he threw Devontae Smith, the dude passed interference them, and it was pass interference, but get it on Dallas.
Yeah, of course, not down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, AJ.
Like I said, I wish AJ Brown would have got the ball a little bit more.
Yeah. So it looks like Devontae had 12 targets. AJ only had 8 targets.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
Yeah. I just wish it was spread out properly in the middle of the game, because that's when we win. At the break, at the bye week, our strategy was to get AJ Brown the football and throw the ball down the field. It's to prioritize AJ Brown, and we've been doing that. And when we do that, we're doing good. When we don't do good. Mm-hmm. Miles Sanders' second fumble in 2 weeks. Bad timing. Is this a concern for you?
I'm not too concerned. I mean, he has had a history a little bit with the turnovers. I'm just at that critical point in the game. You would think that he's had a little bit better concentration, but he's still a young player. I think he's having a great season. I think I'm not really concerned about it. Now, if we go into this game and something like this happens again, because that fumble was weird. It wasn't like he got hit or stripped. It just popped out of his hand. So I'm just going to say
he got it grazed. It was grazed, but it wasn't hard enough to cause no fumble.
Right. So hopefully this week in practice, he's really, really working on that and focusing on holding the ball, because that was huge. That was huge. In this game, this was a game that I think the Eagles wanted to win. Obviously, they didn't necessarily have to win it. It wasn't like a must win, but you want to make sure you're finishing games strong. You want to make sure you're holding on to the ball. So hopefully it's not a big thing moving forward, but he has had an issue with it. What about you? What do you think?
I just think that when you start fumbling the ball, it becomes a mental problem.
Yes.
Especially for a running back. And I don't like to have these type of problems at the end of the season.
Agreed.
I really had this problem and it's corrected in week 5 or 6 or 10. Rather than going into the last 2 weeks of the year and you put the ball on the ground in the last 2 weeks in critical situations. So I'm just praying that it's okay, that it's out of system and that it's not becoming like a mental juggernaut, a mountain. So
we'll see. Yeah. I will be concerned if it happens again, but
yeah,
I'm trying to be positive. Try to look at hopefully something good moving down the line here. So next question. How did the Eagles O-line fare against Parsons? What do you think?
What was this? What? How many sacks did the Cowboys have? The
See.
Cowboys had 0 sacks in that game.
Let's see.
They had 0 sacks.
Yeah, 0 sacks. They didn't even have any tackles for loss.
No, they had 2 tackles for loss, and they had a bunch of pressures though. They had a lot of quarterback pressure. Now, and that's the thing. Like, it doesn't say quarterback hits, but Minshew was getting the ball out of his hand quickly at times. But overall, I thought when Lane Johnson was in the game and Mailata, that he wasn't getting anything.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
And they were like existent into the end of the first half, and that's when they started bringing pressure. They had to bring pressure in order to generate any pass rush.
Yeah.
And toward the end of the game, then they were starting to get home a little bit before when Driscoll was in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought they did a great job against Michael Parsons and in their defensive front. Now I wish we could have ran the ball a little bit more, but yeah. Offense rolled to 400 yards, average 6.4 per play, converted over 60% third down, no punts, clearly able to move the ball in Dallas, just killed by the turnovers.
There you have it.
You don't punt, but you turn it over. And they scored on all of our turnovers, so it's all misleading. They scored on every one of our turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the points, the 40 points and all that stuff, is not the same. It's a lot of that was offensive given points.
Yep.
So even with Gardner was like, dude, I only really gave up 2 touchdowns.
He probably is in there saying that.
Yeah. Facts.
I hate that, man. I can't stand that.
Yeah, I'm serious. When you really break it down, though, like he gave up. Let's go through something real quick.
What you got?
We had them. It's 10-0, Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
10-0. 3rd and 5. We call a slot blitz. Vontae Maddox missed them. Had him. Missed them. Dak gets out of it. They go on a scoring touchdown drive. That's 1 touchdown.
Yep.
4th and 8. Second quarter. Got him beat. Darius Slay unnecessarily holds T.Y. Hilton on a comeback route. Didn't even have to. They go and score on their drive. 4th and 8. Right?
That's crazy.
Look, just think about it. Later in the game, CeeDee Lamb gets a touchdown. It's covered 3. Darius Slay jumps an out route, lets him get behind him. Touchdown. Just who's all of this stuff? Who is this? Is this the Cowboys? No.
Yep.
This is us. Gardner Minshew had Quez wide open on a deep over route, misses him. We end up kicking the field goal.
Crazy, man.
Hassan Reddick kills the left tackle, gets a strip sack. Linval Joseph dies on the football. He was the only one with a true opportunity to get on it. And somehow the ball was literally in his hands, the first one on it.
That was crazy.
To the point that the referee was like, it's the Eagles' ball because there's no way this dude missed this ball. Butter through his hands, squirts out the other side. Cowboys lineman pick up the ball. The next play, Sweaty gets a sack. 3rd and 30. Josiah Scott is trying to disguise on a 3rd and freaking 30. He's supposed to be all the way back, but on a snap of the ball, he's running into position. And you, as a secondary defender, whenever you're running backward, you're at a disadvantage. You want to be moving forward, looking at the ball coming to you. I go and pick it coming forward. Whenever you start doing all of this stuff, the receiver is like, oh, thank you, Lord. You ain't getting paid. I get paid to do all of this. And what an unbelievable catch by T.Y. Hilton. Had his arm. That was a hard catch to make.
Yeah.
Hard. That was an extremely hard catch to make because it was pass interference. One.
Mm-hmm.
And but not in position.
That was a bonehead play, man. I kept saying, I'm like, and I hate, I feel bad for sometimes as a safety. I feel bad sometimes when the corners get blamed for all this. And it was on Slay too. But when I'm seeing Josiah Scott, and I know he's supposed to be in the deep third outside, because I can see him panic. Like you can see it in his eyes. As soon as that ball snapped, you can see him panic and just start running.
And start running. He was out of
he
position
knew
already.
He knew it was over. So, when they're blaming Slay, I'm like, no, that's on the safety. That's 100% on safety. Like you said, it's 3rd and 30. What are you showing for? Like, first of all, you think Dak is dumb enough to believe that y'all are going to play man on 3rd and 30 like that? No, just get back, get to your coverage, get to your leverage where you're supposed to be, and let them figure it out. Let them sort it out. Let the D-line get the chance to get there and rush. But Dak lined up. He's like, oh, yeah, we got this one. As soon as he saw Josiah turn to run, it's a wrap.
But Slay got to see him too, because Slay can see him.
True.
You can see you're looking right next to him. He's right next to you. Like, what are you doing right here? I'd have been like, yo, get. What are you doing? Get back.
The entire game, Slade just was seeing the cheese, man. He was just seeing the traps. Like, yeah, I think he was trying to get him a pick.
He was trying to get a pick.
Like the entire game, he was just trying to sit on everything. Like sometimes, man, you can't. Sometimes you can play like that, but in a big game against a veteran quarterback. Now, I'm not a huge Dak fan, but he's got experience in the league. He knows how to read defenses. You're not going to get a cheap one on him.
Yeah.
Right? So
he's going to make a mistake.
He's going to. Yes.
Try to fit it in a tight window.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going to be because you just outsmarted him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you start to like break this game down, and then you start to consider the back-to-back turnovers, 2 drives in a row under 4 minutes.
Oh man.
It was some of the stuff is just some of the things that happened. Gallup made a great play. I don't know, and maybe you understand this from me on the Gallup touchdown, the one where he's scrambling right, and he ended up like mirroring him in the end zone, and he ended up catching on the sideline in the in the end zone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kazir White. Why is Kazir White why isn't he backing up? It's 3rd and goal. You think Dak gonna run 10 yards and run you and TJ Edwards over? Why are you pressing the line of scrimmage?
Beating themselves, man.
You get what I mean? Like, I just think that's situational. Like, yeah, if it was a 3rd and 4 and he's gonna get it, I get you coming up. But you got no reason to come up in that situation, understanding the situation of the football game. Just continue to gain your depth. If he runs past the line of scrimmage, it's 3rd and goal. You and TJ Edwards going to meet him at the 4-yard line.
Yep. I saw it all game. The awareness, especially in these zones, the awareness of the interior linebackers, White, Scott, like when you're in a zone, it's not just you get to your spot and you just stand there. Like, they should be in their zone. They should be looking around left and right, not focusing on Dak where he's at. That's exactly what happened on that. Kaiser gets to his zone, he's dropping back, and then he forgot all of his reads on the routes behind him, and he just focused in on Dak and started to come up. First of all, anytime the quarterback is out of the pocket, what we were always taught to do is if the quarterback's out of the pocket and the receiver breaks off his route, we don't know as a defender if that's a run, if the quarterback's going to run. So you can knock that guy down as long as the ball's not in the air. So what I would have done as soon as I saw the quarterback outside the pocket, once Gallup starts to do his route, I'm pushing him down. I'm knocking him down, and I'm gonna stand over him. Now that takes away a threat for the quarterback. So just little stuff like that, like little small things that this team at this point in the year shouldn't be making these same mistakes. It's a little frustrating.
Definitely frustrating, my man.
I can tell, man. I can feel it.
There was so many opportunities to win the stinking football game.
Yeah.
All right. Mojo. Mojo is building the sports stock market where you can invest in your favorite players. Invest in what you know. Turn your sports knowledge into real money with Mojo, the sports stock market. Real stats, real value. Shares entitle you to a guaranteed payout based on career-ending stats. No off days, no off seasons. Share prices rise and fall constantly in real time based on career-long projections. Cash out anytime. Build a portfolio, buy and sell on your terms, every play, every game, or every season. Mojo is available in New Jersey on iOS. And by just downloading the app, you have a chance to win up to $10,000 in free shares of player stock. Click the link in the description for a chance to win up to $10,000 in free shares of player stock. Must be 21 years and over. Physically located in New Jersey to trade on Mojo. Have a gambling problem? Help is available at 1-800-GAMBLER. Remember, Mojo is a way for you to make money by using the players' sports stock market. If you can figure out that Gardner Minshew is going to go for $355, may have made a few dollars. There are some guys that are standing out. Like, you know who scares me every time he touches the ball?
Who's that?
For the Cowboys, the kick returner, Turpin.
Ooh, man.
I think that's a kid that's like primed for a Mojo thing, because at some point that kid's gonna get an opportunity to play offense, and he is dynamic. If you get in the right offense, that's a kid that can be around a long time.
Yeah, he was nice, man.
Yeah.
My son was talking about him before the game. I'm like, man, I ain't talking about him.
That joke was moving. The boy was moving.
It was rolling.
Yeah, rolling. You got this next one.
All right. So next segment. We kind of talked about this, but the Eagles really struggled in their zone coverage. From your perspective, why was CeeDee Lamb such a I don't want to say backbreaker, but why was he such a why was he so tough to stop? I guess we'll put it that way. Why was he so tough to stop? Because it's in the zone.
It was zone, and we busted a few. The best play he made that day, he had two good plays. I thought he beat man coverage once on the inside slant against Josiah Scott. He's a better athlete than Josiah Scott. And then again in the goal line on the fake post, but he ended up running the fade route. That was that was a nice. That was a great call. It was because the action is a angle post. Every DB in the league is going to think an angle post. I thought angle post when I was like angle post. Oh, I wasn't even mad at him. I wasn't even mad. I was like, that was a good play.
It was nice.
So that one was an excellent play call. But you got to give him credit. He made his plays, but it's in zone. Like when you're in zone the entire game and you can find a zone, you got enough time to throw the ball and your quarterback recognizes it. Like I said, he was 15 for 15 in zone. So he recognized the zone and he knew where to sit down, and that's all it was. I'm not looking into it and saying, oh, man, CeeDee Lamb killed us. No, you play man coverage is a different story. And we got to figure out a way to get some better players now. And we may need a new nickel. We may need a new nickel. If Avante Maddox is out for any time, especially playoffs, where's Crayvon LeBlanc at? Where's he doing in his life? Like, Strap Int. What is Strap Int doing? Or what is somebody around the league? I don't know where he is, but we need somebody that we can depend on to play the slot. And I don't think it's Josiah Scott.
Yeah, I mean it's clear he's struggled all year.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on the CD Lamb stuff.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating because even as good as he was, I still think that if the underneath coverage would have played with better awareness and understand that the quarterback is not he's not looking at you. He's not going to throw the ball to you. You need to go move your zone to find the open receiver because that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I think that's what is frustrating. And he did have a good game, but I do think that the Eagles, secondary helped him out tremendously.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Gannon lack of aggression too.
Yeah.
And I thought Kellen Moore did a great job. That was a great game plan by him. It was.
He stay, baby, 208.
Oh my gosh. Terrible game plan then. But yeah, sure, for a struggle, like that's what I think about the zone. It's just not too passive.
Yeah, too passive.
All right, from your perspective, Q, what happened on the 3rd and 30 completion? We talked about this a little bit, the Hill.
Yeah, like basically from Josiah Scott just had a brain fart for whatever reason. Like I said before, he's it's that coverage. We used to run a similar coverage. We call it freeze, and essentially all it is like a Tampa 2. So, but instead of having your middle linebacker run the middle of the field, you just line up your safety. So there was 2 safeties, Reed, Blankenship, and Epps were in the middle, and on the far outside the numbers. Josiah Scott, he's supposed to be outside the numbers on his side, but for some reason, on Slay's side, for some reason, he decided to come down and show like he was playing man in a 3rd and 30 situation, which nobody does. The Eagles don't even do that. So that goes to show you even more that if a defense is showing something that they don't want to do, which the Eagles don't play man like that, it's just line up. So anyway, long story short, Josiah Scott's showing when he shouldn't be showing. He should just get back into his deep half or his deep outside third, and it's a no play. And then
he's not even throwing the ball there.
He's not even going to look. He's going to say, okay, that's covered, that's capped. I'm just going to check down. So that coupled with Slay with his eyes in the backfield, not watching, the receiver and really syncing with them. That was just all bad football, man. Just from the beginning of the snap. And, that's on the secondary coach. That's on the defensive coordinator. You've got to teach these guys, listen, in those situations, we don't need the show. We don't need to confuse them. Just get your butt back where you're supposed to be. That's it. So it's frustrating, man, because that's another play that we did
that's
to
a
ourselves.
Backbreaker.
Yeah. And then it takes all
that was at the 9-minute mark. Eagles up 34-27.
And what that does is it makes teams like Dallas start to believe. It makes them start to say, oh yeah, we can do this. That momentum starts, that crowd starts to get into it. It gets like, and
them boys start making plays.
You got to shut the door on that stuff. Yes, absolutely.
They start making plays. The receivers made plays. People start making plays. T.Y. Hilton made an amazing play. Gallup made an amazing play. CD Lamb made an amazing play. The tight end, like they start making plays.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Teaching tape.
Right.
Excuse me. So we kind of hit on this. What are did you think there should have been any adjustments that Gannon made?
Yeah, I thought that he should have went a little bit more man coverage in times, especially throw off the rhythm of Dak Prescott, and make it so that it's not a pitch and catch read, and that he has to make accurate throws. When you're a man, you got to make accurate throws. And I'm not saying every time, but more than a few times, you can't play an entire game in zone. You just can't do it. So. That's what I say. What about you?
I agree. You got to change the coverages up. And if you're going to play zone, you got to start with putting some better games in for your linemen to get some pressure. We didn't get hardly any pressure from our 4-man rushes, which is weird because we usually do get a lot. And so,
oh no, we got 6 sacks, Hugh.
But I'm talking about in these critical times, right? So these
Okay.
critical situations, if we're sitting in the zone and you're not getting any games going on, couple that with some young guys in the secondary in the back end that aren't dropping to where they need to, it's going to have what exactly happened. So,
Yeah. You talking
you
about
know,
critical moments.
yes, critical moments.
Mhm.
Um, so again, this isn't the world is ending type of deal. This is a situation where you're gonna have to have guys step up and make some plays. I would have liked to see less zone, more man. I would have liked to see just more games from the defensive front, especially if you're not going to blitz. I've been saying it all year, man. You got to start pressuring. I don't care who the quarterback is, except maybe Tom Brady. But even Tom Brady, you got to come after him.
Yeah.
Can't let him get comfortable in the back. And that's what it felt like. He was very comfortable in the pocket. He was able to sit and read. The receivers were able to find the open zones, and it was just too easy for him for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So what did you see from the pass rush? And
I thought that they did. I thought that the zones weren't tight enough for them to be effective. You get what I mean? Like there
yeah,
wasn't enough carrying, there wasn't enough time for them to be effective because the ball was out so quick and the lane was so easy to throw. Like it wasn't hard throws for Dak to make.
right.
Right. So if he had a chance to pat the ball, I thought we did good.
Yeah,
But it wasn't as dominant as a performance as we had, even though we had 6 sacks. A lot of those were some blitzes and things like that. And it was some sacks where he was pressing the line of scrimmage and he got sacked like on a run, but it was like it looked like it wasn't even a sack. You know, I mean, that happened 2 or 3 times
yeah,
where he was trying to escape the pocket and he ended up getting sacked the yard short of the line of scrimmage was technically a sack, but it looked like he was trying to run. You know, so I don't think it was the pass rush though. I won't blame the pass rush. I just think that it was more secondary play. You can't win the quarterback getting the ball out fast.
yeah. And so, another thing that I'll add to that, the thing that affects that, and we've said it multiple times on here. Usually, we were talking about the outside guys. When you have CeeDee Lamb in the slot, even let's say you're in a cover 2 or cover 3, you got to get a collision on him. He was running scot free down the middle of the field on
Nobody
nobody
touches
touching.
anybody in football anymore.
That's
Nobody
frustrating.
touches people in football anymore. And yes, that's an excellent point, Q.
Yeah.
When a game is played correctly on defense, everybody in the slot gets touched. You can't always touch the outside guy, depending on if you're in cover 3 or cover 4. But if you in the zone inside, somebody should be touching you before you get up the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's a great point.
Got a collision, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
Make sure you come out to Launch Trampoline Park in Deptford, New Jersey. We have everything: rock wall, laser tag, stunt bag, basketball, slam ball, ninja course, valo jump. We got interactive jump where we put you inside a video game on a trampoline. We got it all. Arcades, pizza. We just bring out new pizza, gourmet pizza, baby. Create your own. It's right here for you at Launch Trampoline Park. Birthday parties, anything you need. Check us out. Launch Trampoline Park, Deptford, New Jersey. We'll have a great time. Host your kid's birthday party, corporate event, whatever you have. Check us out, Launch Trampoline Park.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. All right, let's wrap this up, Q. We got 3 questions.
All right. This is an interesting one. I'll go first. This first one's from DG. He says, "What was the worst football punishment you've ever received personally or a part of a team, and why?" That's a tough one.
Worst football punishment I received was, I think, my senior year. My roommate's parents was had their 30th wedding anniversary, vow renewal, and I wanted to go. It was in California, and we had an off day, so I went, and my plane was delayed to get back, And instead of getting back at 11 a.m., I ended up getting back at like 5 a.m. 5 p.m. Ended up missing practice. And so I had to sit out like the first quarter of the game. I think I set out like 2 plays, but it was like I was supposed to be the first quarter. When you start losing like real quick, Jason, get back in there. But that was like, you know your lesson. Yeah, I got you, coach. I was supposed to sit out a quarter, but I ended up sitting out like 2 plays.
Hey, man. When it's on the line, you want to win, put Booby in.
So yeah, but I didn't really. I was a team guy. Like very rarely was I going to make a decision independent of the team that's going to get me kicked out. You know what I mean? Yeah. What about you?
Besides getting fined, probably when I was in college here at Boise State, I had one semester where I had some pretty bad grades, and they sent the letters out to all our parents. Went out to my parents. So that in itself was bad enough because I didn't want to get on the phone with my dad and have him, going off on me. But then, so our punishment, we had this thing. It was called the Big Three, and so it was 100 yards. So you had to do 100 yards of bear crawls, 100 yards of rolls, and then 100 like upper deckers. So now we would go into the stage at the top, and you had to do like 10, 15 minutes of upper decks.
Oh my God.
After that, all my grades were great because the bear crawls wasn't too bad, the upper deckers wasn't, but rolling, oh my God,
for 100 yards.
Oof.
Come on, man.
That was painful. I felt like I was about to throw up. So there you go. That's the worst thing I ever had. All right. Next question from DG. Was there ever a teammate that you thought was going to be an absolute stud in the league, only to just fade away and never getting a fair shake?
There's always guys that don't get a fair hand. That's just the nature of the game, because people draft and they're going to give the guy that's drafted way more opportunities than the guy that isn't drafted. But eventually the ballers are going to show out. Do I think there were people that should have got chances over other people? Multiple people. Under the Chip Kelly regime, he was giving people opportunities that he knew rather than people that deserved it. So yeah, like we had a receiver, Greg Salas, that played for the Jets. He should have made the team, but we ended up keeping like Jeff Mel. Jamar Chaney was better than Casey Matthews. Like there's a bunch of like little things like that you see and that happen. So yeah, Demar's Johnson was better than Jeff Mel. Like there was a bunch of that he never played. Like so there was a bunch of if Bill Belichick would have had Demar's Johnson, he would have been a household name.
That's crazy.
Because he was crazy.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the things like those like little things like that happens.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Salas. He came to when I was with the Rams, and he was good, man. He was a baller.
Greg can play.
Yeah,
Greg can play.
Man.
So that was it. You got any of those?
I mean, I don't know if this one quite counts, but one guy who I thought was going to be an absolute stud, and he was still good. He had some good years, but for whatever reason, didn't quite work out, and that's Shawn Andrews. Do you remember him?
Shawn Andrews, so athletic, man. We know why it didn't work out. We know why it didn't work out, but yeah, he was an amazing athlete. Yeah. Shawn Andrews was an amazing athlete. He was Jason Peters before Jason Peters.
Yeah, he was a monster. I remember watching him do DB drills at 300 and some odd pounds. He had better feet than a lot of defensive backs did.
Yeah, he was amazing. Shawn Andrews was amazing.
Yeah,
amazing athlete.
All right. Dang. There you go. All right, last one. You want this one?
Yep. Question from Robert C. The large number of sacks in the past 3 games, does the Eagles' D-line depth provide an advantage later in the season when they are relatively fresh while opponents' offensive lines are banged up and playing backups?
I mean, Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
think,
tough.
yeah,
I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I think everyone at this point of the year is still pretty beat up. They are fresh, but I still think that this team, especially this D line, once you get a lead, they can cut loose, pin their ears
yeah,
back, and get after it. That's really what affects it more than anything. So at this point in the year, everybody's beat up, everybody's hurt. But I think playing with that lead is probably a bigger reason why.
yeah. See, that's the thing about the Cowboys. The game, the D line can never get comfortable because there was always the element of play action and a run because we didn't get to that point where we broke the game open and we can make them one dimensional. Now that game would have been totally different if the D line had a chance to pin their ears back. But there's multiple things they had to worry about the entirety of the game, so it's kind of hard. That's just not the way our defense has played this year. That's not normal. We got to learn how to win these games when it's like that as well. So that is it.
We forgot to mention it because I had to say something. That sweat play where he picked the ball off on that bootleg and ran it back for a touchdown was amazing. One of the best things I've
How
ever
do
seen
you
in my
pick?
life.
I've never seen a D lineman just pluck it out the air. They can tip it.
It was beautiful, man.
It was. Boy, Sweat be looking like somebody uncle running, don't he? He looked like Junebug.
my wife was like, "What's wrong with him?" I'm like, "He got like no knee."
Yeah, he don't have like his he don't have like ligaments in one of his legs, right? He like barely got any yeah. So our people like, oh, he's smooth. I'm like, dude, he walks with a limp. He walked like he Jordan at 40, 41, 42. But he made a great play. A great play. Unbelievable
Beautiful.
Play. Dude, 10-0.
Thought we was on our way. But all right. That was good, man. I had to say something. I didn't want to cut you off, but that was great.
Do your thing. Do your thing. Hey, thank you guys for tuning into the Q&A podcast. Remember, it drops every Tuesday. Can't wait to see what the Eagles do to the Saints this upcoming week. This is a double whammy. We get a chance to get a win to clinch the first round, but also we get to knock the Saints back so we can get a nice draft pick as well. So hopefully we can get that done.
There you go. Can't wait.
All right, from me and QQ, you got the last word.
As always, man, it's a pleasure. Have fun with you. Have fun talking game with you. We'll see everybody next week. Thank you for watching.